Browns Titans may lack sizzle, but Shedeur Sanders versus Cam Ward adds intrigue. The storylines surrounding Shedeur Sanders never seem to slow down, and as the NFL season moves deeper into its defining stretch, the young Cleveland Browns quarterback finds himself once again at the center of a conversation that stretches far beyond a single game. His name was one of the most polarizing topics during the pre-draft process, not because teams doubted his raw talent, but because nobody could quite predict where he would land. Analysts expected him off the board early, maybe even in the same breath as Cam Ward, the explosive prospect who shared training sessions, late-night film studies, and stretches of preparation with Sanders in the months leading up to the draft. Ward ultimately became the #1 overall pick of the Tennessee Titans, a headline that shaped the entire direction of draft weekend. Sanders, meanwhile, slid in dramatic fashion until the Browns took him in the 5th round, a steal in the eyes of some, a gamble in the eyes of others. The contrast was impossible to ignore then, and it resurfaces now as the two former training partners collide for the first time on an NFL field this Sunday. Yet if anyone is searching for added tension, for extra emotion or hidden personal motivation, they won't find it from Sanders himself. When he spoke on Wednesday, there was no hint of irritation, no competitive grudge, no fire fueled by where he was drafted or who went before him. Instead, he spoke with a sense of grounded maturity, the kind that comes from understanding how quickly narratives shift in a league built to humble even its brightest stars. He reflected on his shared past with Ward, explaining that working with him during the pre-draft process was fun, productive, and respectful. Two young quarterbacks pushing each other, sharpening each other, learning in real time what it takes to become a professional. But that chapter, as Sanders put it, is closed. Once the draft ended, they went their separate ways, each swept into the demanding rhythm of NFL life, each trying to carve out his identity in a league where reputations are built on weeks rather than resumes. And now, as the Titans prepare to visit Cleveland, the outside world sees a matchup heavy with symbolism, but Sanders refuses to view it that way. When asked if facing Ward brings something extra out of him, a point to prove, an internal spark, a desire to show the world he belonged closer to that #1 pick, Sanders didn't hesitate. "Nah, I think it's nothing extra within myself," he said calmly, his voice steady, almost dismissive of the idea. To him, Ward isn't a rival. Ward isn't a measuring stick. Ward is simply another quarterback in a league full of great ones. Another weekly challenge. Another face across the field. No different from the dozens he will eventually compete against if he stays healthy and continues to grow into the role Cleveland is asking him to fill. His answer wasn't false humility, it was clarity. Sanders knows the league is bigger than one matchup, bigger than one draft comparison, bigger than the noise that surrounds two young quarterbacks trying to survive the same storm. If anything, he understands that his battle is inward. Every week is a referendum on his growth, his composure, his ability to lead an offense that is still searching for its identity. And in that pursuit, individual rivalries don't matter. Draft positions don't matter. What matters is execution, consistency, and proving to his coaching staff that they were right to trust him with the job. Ward's path since becoming the #1 pick has been just as turbulent. 12 starts into his rookie season, he has struggled through the highs and lows that come with stepping into the league's harshest spotlight. His win total matches Sanders' 1, a statistic that illustrates how similar their journeys have been despite how far apart they were selected on draft day. Neither quarterback has found comfort yet. Neither has solidified anything. Neither has rewritten his future. Their meeting on Sunday is not a duel between enemies, but a crossroads between two players fighting for footing, for momentum, for validation. And as much as fans will try to turn it into a rivalry, Sanders simply refuses to indulge that narrative. He doesn't want the week to be about proving he should have been drafted earlier. He doesn't want it to be about Ward or about comparisons or about the ghosts of draft night. His priorities are narrower, sharper, more grounded in the immediate pressure of a young career still hanging in balance. The Browns have made it clear that his starting job is week to week, earned through performance rather than promise. One win, no matter how emotional, does not guarantee anything. Every snap matters. Every decision is magnified. In that environment, chasing personal storylines is a luxury he cannot afford. What Sanders wants now is stability, not in the eyes of fans, but in the eyes of his teammates, his coaches, and the organization that took a chance on him. So while others try to hype the matchup, Sanders is focused on something far more important: playing clean football, commanding the offense, and proving he is capable of leading Cleveland beyond the turbulence of this transition year. And maybe that is what makes this game compelling. Not the rivalry, not the draft, not the headlines, but the quiet truth that both quarterbacks are standing in the same uncertain place, each carrying the weight of expectation, each searching for the breakthrough that will finally set the course of their career. This week isn't about bragging rights, it's about survival, growth, and the belief that the next game might be the one that changes everything. And yet beneath all the measured answers, the steady tone, and the insistence that nothing about this week feels personal, there is an undeniable undercurrent surrounding Shedeur Sanders that even he cannot completely outrun. It is the pressure of legacy, of expectation, of carrying a last name that invites both admiration and scrutiny every time it appears on a jersey. Being the son of Deion Sanders means the spotlight never dims, even when you try to step out of it. Critics evaluate him not as a fifth-round rookie, but as someone who should already possess polish, command, and poise simply because of where he comes from. Supporters defend him passionately, pointing to his flashes of brilliance, his calm under pressure, his uncanny ability to respond to chaos with clarity. Opponents and skeptics, meanwhile, wait eagerly for missteps, using any struggle as evidence that he was overhyped, underprepared, or overshadowed by the weight of his father's charisma. This week, facing the quarterback who beat him to the draft podium by hundreds of picks, only intensifies that quiet noise. Sanders may say there is nothing extra to prove, but in reality, he is proving himself every time he walks into the building, every time he touches the ball, every time he leads the huddle with the conviction of someone who believes his moment isn't coming. It's already here. And the truth is, the Browns need him to believe that. They need him to be more than a placeholder. They need him to evolve into the anchor of a franchise that has spent years searching for offensive stability. The locker room can feel it. The coaches can feel it. Even the fans, sitting through each emotional climb and collapse of a turbulent season, understand that Sanders is not merely auditioning. He is auditioning for the future. And across the field, Cam Ward is doing the same, wrestling with similar expectations in the shadow of a Titans season marred by inconsistency. Sometimes, the paths of two young quarterbacks reveal deeper truths not about rivalry but about resilience. This matchup is a collision not of enemies but of mirrors. Two players reflecting the same hopes, the same doubts, the same determination to prove they belong. Sanders knows that his journey will not be defined by where he was drafted or by who was drafted ahead of him. It will be defined by his ability to rise above the noise, to transform potential into production, to elevate those around him even when circumstances pull in the opposite direction. So when kickoff arrives on Sunday and cameras inevitably pan between Sanders and Ward, the story won't truly be about draft positions or bragging rights or past training sessions. The real story will unfold in the quiet moments between plays, in the poise Sanders shows under pressure, in the resolve he carries when adversity hits, in the conviction that every throw has the power to shift a narrative that has followed him from college to Cleveland. And as the game wears on, as each quarterback battles the weight of expectation and the urgency of now, it will become clear that this week means something. Not because Sanders says it does, but because his journey demands that every week means something. In the end, what he is chasing is not vindication against Cam Ward or proof against draft critics. He is chasing legitimacy, longevity, and the chance to write a story that belongs entirely to him.